What's up, sports fans? This is the Lucas Ross Sports Channel. It's time to give you a game preview / game prediction for the 2023 college football season. Our game preview / game prediction will be Week 13's matchup between the Kentucky Wildcats and the Louisville Cardinals, also known as Rival Week here, heading into this weekend of week number 13. This weekend, it's also known as the Battle of the Bluegrass here between Kentucky and Louisville, the battle for the Governor's Cup as well. Looking at the series history between these two teams, Kentucky leads the all-time series 19-15, and Kentucky's dominated the series as of late. They have 4 straight wins over this Louisville team. Will Louisville finally snap that losing streak this upcoming weekend? This is one of my top 5 favorite rivalries, and I'm also a Kentucky, person. Like, I'm from the state of Kentucky, so why not do this kind of, game preview / game prediction here between these two rivalries? So we're going to give you a game preview / game prediction on this game, go through the stat comparisons here between these two teams, give you the game summary of what time the game will be this upcoming weekend. Then we'll give you their previous game result matchups from over the course of the 2023 to look at their previous 5 game results, and then we'll give you the prediction at the end of this video, see how the game's going to go down. So let's get right into it here with our Week 13 game preview / game prediction for this weekend's rivalry matchup between Kentucky and Louisville, and we'll start here with the stat comparisons. Looking at the stat comparisons here, looking at Kentucky first, they're coming in with a record of 6-5. So yeah, Kentucky's been having a pretty up and down season. You look at the points per game for this Kentucky team, about 27.7 points per game. So yeah, this Kentucky offense has been pretty average this year. It's not the same offense that we saw from last year when Will Levis was there, but total yards per game, like I said, a pretty average offense, about 338.7 yards per total yards this year. Passing yards per game, 203.5 yards per passing. Devin Leary, the transfer from NC State's been having a pretty up and down season. About 20 touchdown passes, though, and just about 9 interceptions. He's been taking care of the football quite a little bit, but not really that much, like taking care of the football a lot. But that's the passing yard numbers, about 203.5 yards per passing. Again, not as high as passing yards as last year. Rushing yards per game for Kentucky, 135.2 yards per rushing. This is a Kentucky team that's been really struggling to run the football as of late. Ray Davis, one of their top running backs, in the country, and also in the SEC. He's like the second best running back now in the SEC since he didn't get a lot of carries in the South Carolina game. But this rushing yard number for Kentucky, it's not really as big as it used to be. Offensively in the rankings, about 100th on the offense. So like I said, Kentucky is about an average offense. And then defensively in the rankings are about 41st on defense. So that defense is somewhat good, but it's not really the same defense again as it was last year either. So again, Kentucky, a very up and down season as according to the stats. You look at Louisville stats, are coming in with a record of 10-1. Looking at the points per game for this Louisville team, about 33.2 points per game. Total yards per game, 443.1 yards per total yards this year. So yeah, that Louisville offense definitely is a really good offense in my opinion. I mean, obviously this is one of the best offenses I've seen that Louisville has had in a very long time. Passing yards per game, about 256.3 yards per passing. You look at Plummer, he came over from, of course, Purdue, won some Big Ten went to the Big Ten championship games with Jeff Brom as the head coach at Purdue. Passing yard numbers really look good for Plummer, even though he's thrown like 10 interceptions on the year, and he's got 19 touchdown passes, but at least he has like over 2,000 yards of passing. You look at the rushing yard numbers for Louisville, about 186.8 yards per rushing. Louisville really good at running the football, so that's been the biggest string for this Louisville team. And then offensively in the rankings for Louisville, about 22nd on offense, and then defensively in the rankings are like 21st on defense. So yeah, they're both pretty even on both sides of the football, to be honest. And then stat comparison-wise here between these two teams, Louisville has a big advantage in all the stats. They have the advantage in all these stat comparisons and everything. Again, Louisville has been definitely a big surprise team this year. So these are the 2023 stat comparisons here heading into this game this weekend for Kentucky and Louisville. Let's now get to the game summary. So Kentucky and Louisville, this game's at noon Eastern time this Saturday on ABC. Louisville favored by 7 points, and the over and under is at 50.5. The game is going to be at Louisville, so it's definitely going to be home field advantage. I'm definitely going to favor Louisville's way. Louisville comes into this game with a record of 10-1, Kentucky at 6-5. Kentucky coming off a very tough loss to South Carolina, very disappointing loss, to be honest. That's definitely like a very tough loss for this Kentucky team, because if Kentucky would have probably won that game, this definitely probably would have been a much bigger game. I still think it's a bigger game, though, to be honest, because it is a rival game. You never know what can happen. Louisville, though, has definitely been a big surprise team this year. I think that because the reason why is just because of that, schedule. The schedule has definitely been setting up well for this Louisville team. And again, their one loss just comes to Pittsburgh in the early part of the year. If they would have won that game, Louisville definitely would have been sitting here at 11-0 and probably had a chance to make the college football playoff. And you look at Louisville this year, obviously they've been really good on the offensive side of the football. And then defensively, they've been strong on that side of the football as well. Kentucky is a 7-point favorite again coming in, or actually Louisville's a 7-point favorite coming into this game. So they're about a touchdown favorite. The game will be on ABC. And this is also kind of the first time I think we've had a noon game between Kentucky and Louisville, probably since maybe 2019 perhaps. I really don't remember. Maybe it was 2021 where they had another noon game. But I don't really remember, to be honest. But I think Louisville definitely and Kentucky is definitely deserving to be a noon game here. I like it when it's a noon game. That way I can watch it pretty early. That way you don't have to wait until maybe at 7:30 to wait for this game. So again, the Cardinals are favored by 7 points in this game. They're kind of expecting a low-scoring type game in this one, which I think that could be the case. And then also, according to the FBI, Louisville is favored in this game by the FBI pretty big. They give Louisville about a 74.2% chance to win. And then for Kentucky, the FBI gives them about a 25.2% chance to win. So, yeah, Louisville with a big advantage here just because I think they're at home. But this game will be at noon Eastern time this Saturday, November 25th. The game is sold out. And I think this is probably the, most fans that are going to be attending a Louisville and Kentucky game in a very long time. So again, this game's at noon Eastern time this Saturday on ABC. Let's now go to the previous game results here for both of these teams. So looking at the previous game results here for both of these teams, again, Kentucky coming in with a record of 6-5. Like I said, they've been a pretty up and down team this year. They lost to Missouri October the 14th, 38-21. Missouri's been a pretty good football team this year. Definitely a very tough loss there for Kentucky. Then they lost to Tennessee coming out of a bye week on October 28th, 33-27. That was a very tough loss there as well. November the 4th, they defeated Mississippi State on the road 24-3. That was their first win at Mississippi State since 2008. So Kentucky got a big win there on the road with the cowbells and everything. Then they lost to Alabama November 11th, 49-21. We knew Kentucky was not going to win that game, to be honest, because Kentucky is not on the level of Alabama. Then November 18th, last night they lost to South Carolina 17-14, a heartbreaking loss to Kentucky there, on the road at South Carolina. So these are the previous 5 game results here for Kentucky. Again, it's been a pretty up and down season for the Wildcats. And then looking at Louisville, they're coming in with a record of 10-1. October 14th, like I said, they lost to Pittsburgh 38-21. If they didn't lose that game, they would have probably been sitting here at 11-0. And Pittsburgh is one of the second, worst teams in the, ACC this year. So yeah, that was definitely a very disappointing loss and a very unacceptable loss for the Cardinals. Then they beat Duke. They bounced back with a win over Duke on October 28th, coming out of a bye week, 23-0. So they shut out the Blue Devils there on October 28th. Defeated Virginia Tech on November 4th, 34-3. Defeated Virginia in a pretty close one on that Thursday night, November 9th, 31-24. And then they defeated Miami last night, 38-31, in a pretty close trap game there. So yeah, Louisville has been on a winning streak ever since that loss to Pittsburgh. For Kentucky, again, it's been a very up and down season. They've had a pretty tough schedule this year. That's the reason why I think Kentucky's been not having a pretty good season. So these are the previous 5 game results here for both of these teams. As let's now get to the prediction. So again, Kentucky and Louisville, the battle of the Bluegrass State, the battle for the Governor's Cup. Again, Kentucky has won 4 straight years in a row against this Louisville team. Louisville finally trying to snap that losing streak to this Kentucky team for the first time since 2017. But again, it's been 9 years since Louisville defeated Kentucky, at their home place. So yeah, Kentucky I think is going to come out fighting in this game. I think they'll be ready. I don't think Louisville should overlook Kentucky this weekend because it is definitely a rival game. I know Louisville is heading to the ACC championship and all, but Louisville definitely should not overlook Kentucky coming into this game this weekend. And it's, like I said, a rival game. You never know what can happen. Kentucky did it before. Remember, they were 6-5 in like 2016. Then they went on the road and defeated like a top 10 team in Louisville. So that could very well happen again coming into this weekend. How I think the game's going to go down, I think this is a low-scoring type game. I don't really see it being a high-scoring game. I think both defenses will probably rule the day in this one. But maybe by the second half, I think it's going to be all about, offenses. But I think it won't be going into the 40s or anywhere like near the 50s as well. I think Louisville, with the home field advantage is going to get it done here. I think the motivation, from the Louisville crowd as well is going to get them done. And plus, I think a turnover probably changes the game as well. Maybe the game is close by the fourth quarter, and then it comes down to the wire. But I think Louisville playing at home, I think, home field advantage is the difference. And I think I'm going to say that Louisville finally snaps the losing streak to Kentucky. They win it 27-21. I know a lot of Kentucky fans are not going to agree with this, and like I said, a lot of rivalry here, history between Louisville and Kentucky. I know, Louisville fan. I know I'm a Kentucky fan and all, but I just really giving my honest opinion. Again, Kentucky's been definitely a very up and down team this year, and I just don't really see Kentucky going on the road and defeating Louisville. I just think with a sold-out crowd and everything, I think Louisville's fans are going to be ready for this game. I just think that's going to give Kentucky a very hard time. But I think Kentucky will fight in this game. Like I said, I don't really see this game being a blowout according to the spread number. But I think Louisville does not cover that spread. They only win by 6 points. But again, the Cardinals finally snap that losing streak, and they finally get the win and bring the Governor's Cup, trophy back home for the first time since 2017. So I got Louisville winning this one 27-21. And this is my official prediction here for the Kentucky Wildcats and the Louisville Cardinals. Battle of the Bluegrass rivalry game here in week number 13 of the 2023 season. Give me your thoughts down in the comments below. Who do you think wins this one, Kentucky or Louisville? Let me know down in the comments below, and also give me your final score prediction as well. Thank you for watching this video, and stay tuned here for more sports content videos on my Lucas Ross Sports channel.